Hey gang, welcome back you guys, good morning. Episode 106 of Zero Carb Journal. I'm Matt, as always, and how are you guys? Did you have a good week? I bet you did great, I bet you made some progress. I had a pretty good week. It's been a good one. So yeah, so good morning you guys. It's 7-ish here on a Sunday morning, and I am just waking up as always, and yeah, let's see. So, this week, hope it was a good one for you guys. I realize I've been a little not super stoked lately, and I apologize for that. So I tried this week to make it a positive one. I was aware that I was sort of sinking. Like I said last week, I don't get depressed anymore, and I really don't. And this time of year, there's a lot of things that conspire to sort of make me try and get depressed. And as I said in the past, I used to always get seasonal depression this time of year. I could just count on it like clockwork. And it's funny now that I'm, sort of out of the woods with the, I'm not sure what you call it, with the, chemical, physiological, with whatever was causing the depression before that wasn't depressing. Whatever was going on with inside me chemically or whatever that was causing those depressive episodes, that's gone. So I don't have that anymore. So it's interesting now because I can really see, I've been feeling down lately. I've been feeling down for quite a few reasons. The biggest one is I'm just frustrated. I'm just frustrated that this was going to be my only shot at a break this winter. I knew that coming up was sometime around now, and I didn't get it. And a big part of that was just my work. There was some other stuff that I haven't really shared with you just because it's really mundane stuff. But things like getting titles for cars and things like that I've just been struggling with, just having a hard time connecting with the people I need to connect with and getting their time and so yeah, it's just been kind of ongoing frustration because I haven't been able to get away right now and take a break. I was really hoping to. Last year this time, well, it was a few weeks ago this time, around Thanksgiving, but I was doing that surf trip in California. And after I got back from that, I sort of said, wow, that feels great. I want to do more of that. And then I got stuck in the boats until late August, and I did that 2-week trip around the beginning of September there, which was wonderful. And again, I just felt great. And I came home and I kind of got myself like geared up to do that again this winter and set myself aside some time. And it's just not going to happen. I can tell, Christmas is now. It's the only break I have from work, and I got holiday obligations, which I'm looking forward to. But it's frustrating just the timing of it all. And then my work and, like I said, mundane stuff, vehicle licensing and all this stuff that I wasn't able to do while I was working that I've had to get done now. And I had basically this week of kind of downtime. And as it turned out, I ended up sort of working all week, which is fine. But anyways, I'm just touching on why I've been so frustrated and, how that kind of manifested as me being pretty bummed these last few weeks. There was all that, being overwhelmed, the doctor, the sickness, and the turning 50 and the being alone and all the other things. But what I wanted to say wasn't to sit here and list all these things that I'm complaining about, but really actually to talk about it in a positive light and say, I got these things that are bugging me, and that in the past they'd irritate me and they'd frustrate me, but they'd compile, they'd pile up, and then that would combine with that whatever was going on with me chemically or whatever, causing that depression, inflammation. And I would just be trapped in this vicious cycle. And it's so profound now because I can sit here and I can identify those things that are bugging me. I didn't used to be able to do that. I could, but then it would just seem like, oh, but it's much more than that. It's this big dark cloud, And I just don't have that anymore. And it's so wonderful, you guys. So I just wanted to touch on that a bit because I am frustrated still, and I have been having a tough week. I'm not gonna lie. I've been really irritated, just trying to get away and realizing that I'm not going to, and I'll go into a little bit more of that. But anyways, what I really wanted to share was just, I've got these frustrations, these things that would normally put me under a big dark cloud, and while I've been kind of frustrated, I haven't been depressed. I don't feel that same dark cloud. I'm actually really optimistic and positive about where I am and where I'm going, and I am looking forward to the coming weeks and months. I'm looking forward to these upcoming boat jobs. They're going to provide me with a lot of opportunities that I didn't have before, to do some more traveling and stuff, and yeah, no, I'm doing good, you guys. I'm having a good week and a rough month and a rough season, I guess. But it's not that rough. It's actually, I went to bed last night thinking about how fortunate I am. Because if this is as bad as it is, man, I got nothing to complain about. I've actually got a super easy holiday season. I've got a super easy, simple life. I've done a pretty good job of not having a lot of stuff weighing down on me. And so, despite being a little frustrated, I'm doing great. So let's talk a little bit more about my frustrations, and let's talk about zero carb. So I forgot last week, excuse me, you guys, I've got a little, I'm about to share with you, I've got a little heartburn right now, and I got a little stuff in my throat, and I'll tell you why, is that I forgot last week to share with you. I had a good week last week. That was when I saw the doctor and all that stuff, and but I forgot to share that I did. I finished up my doctor appointment last Thursday, and then I think maybe it was that night even. It might have been Thursday night. It might have been Friday night because it's been a week now. But I just wanted to say I had a sick night. I ate too much. I woke up in the middle of the night sweating, and then I was forced out of bed, and I had diarrhea for half an hour and then vomited and did all the same things as usual, soaked in sweat, just feeling awful, and then vomit, and the burning in my stomach goes away, and it's all good. So that happened a week ago. First time in a few weeks, and it was frustrating, especially right after my doctor appointment. And then this week it happened again, and it happened on, what's today? Today's Sunday, so it happened, I think Thursday night? No, Friday night. It happened, night before last. And again, it was awful, and I woke up bathed in sweat, and and it really wrecks my next day. I'm really aware of that now. This isn't too long of an episode. I'm up for maybe an hour, and then maybe I get up again and use the toilet again. So it does really wreck my sleep. But the next day, my stomach is hurting, and I'm scared to eat, and I'm tired. And so, that happened on Friday, and so I ate just a little bit yesterday, and I went to bed hungry and scared to eat last night, and which is okay. I end up feeling a little more solid when I just sort of do that and leave it a day in between. It just feels like that really tears me up when I have those episodes. But at any rate, sure was frustrating. And, it's funny. The symptoms are exactly like what you would expect in biliary colic or whatever, the gall issues. And, according to all my testing, I don't have that. So, I'm not going to figure out what it is. But what I wanted to say about it was that it definitely seems, it's definitely just that I ate too much. Whether other people could eat that much and be okay, I don't know. I assume they probably could. But it's pretty obvious. I'm really able to identify now, when it's happening, when it might happen. Like I went to bed Friday night and I felt great. I had eaten. I was totally, my stomach was calm and comfortable when I went to bed. And I said, you're probably going to wake up in the middle of the night and be sick. And I knew why that was. And why it wasn't how much food I'd put in my body right then at 5 o'clock or whenever I ate dinner. But what had happened was I had been hungry that day. I had been working out a lot. I did 3 workouts last week and rode my bike. And so I woke up hungry. I ate a little bit in the morning, the remainder of the food I'd cooked the day before, and then I cooked again. So when I cook my burgers, which is just one of my tubes of burger, which is about 2 pounds. It's not that much. And then I've been adding bacon, like 4 strips, 5 strips, somewhere in there, not much more than that, and a little bit of ribeye, maybe another, it's hard to say because it's cooked. and I cook it like bacon, so it equals about another 5 strips of bacon or whatever, and I chop that up and mix it all up. So it ends up being, it's probably about, I would say it's roughly 3 pounds, probably less raw, and then obviously it's a lot less cooked. Not terribly fatty. I mean, there's a little bit of ribeye and bacon in there, which brings my fat content up because the beef doesn't feel fatty enough on its own. But at any rate, I eat that. So this was that Friday. I ate a little bit in the morning, extra from the day before, and then I ate that amount, so 3 pounds during the day. But what I think I did wrong, and what I'm trying to explain that I can identify now, is that I cooked that second meal. It was kind of like a late lunch at like 2 maybe, and I ate it at like 2. And I ate, half of that bowl or whatever, and I can easily eat that whole bowl in one sitting. Maybe not easily, but some days when I'm really hungry, I can do that without hurting my stomach sometimes. So anyways, about 2, I ate about half that bowl. I remember I'd eaten in the morning. And then again, I ate at 5, and I finished that bowl off. So the reason I thought I might get sick, this is part of my theory, one of my theories, is that, I just felt like I had been kind of eating all day. I'd eaten in 3 kind of distinct sessions, but pretty close together within like 3 or 4 hours of each other. And it seems like at that point my body just maybe has made all the bile acid it can. And that stuff is just sitting in my stomach in a pool of acid, but there's not enough to break it all the way down, so it's just eating my stomach up, but it's not going away. I don't know. What I'm trying to figure out is, why does it just sit in my stomach on those episodes when I eat too much or too much over time or whatever it might be? Because it isn't always just sheer volume. Sometimes it's just like how much I've been digesting during the day, and maybe I just digested all I could, or there was like I said, I used up all my bile. At any rate, sure is frustrating. But it's not that bad, and it doesn't come with all my inflammatory symptoms. It does wreck my next day. I'd really rather not have it, Robin. I can hear you right now. I know it's not normal. I don't want to be sick like that weekly. I don't know, that there's much I can do about it right now. At any rate, it's frustrating. It's frustrating me lately. So that was part of my frustration. So this week was interesting because I was pretty focused on that. I was aware that, I'd had my doctor appointment last week. I had made some plans, or to make some plans, to focus on what I want to do next. And so I was sort of trying to be conscious of that. And I got sick, and I got sick again. And it hasn't helped me figure out what I want to do. You'd think it would motivate me to get more answers, but in some ways it's just motivating me to stop being sick, to just eat a little bit less, pay more attention, and deal with my issues with my own therapies that I can find, because they seem to be the most effective, especially since I can't get any answers anywhere else. So I don't know what to do. I'm frustrated. It's been a frustrating month for me. So there's that. So on that note, though, that does bring me to the doctor stuff. I have done some research this week on some tests, and there are some pretty profound tests out there now. There's one called the Prometheus. There's a company called Prometheus Lab Diagnostics or something like that, and they have some really interesting IBD and Crohn's specific tests that they can identify through some genetic testing, DNA stuff, and other markers, chemical and physiological markers in your system. So I found that interesting. I'm sure it's incredibly expensive, but I can at least bring it up to my doctor, and we can look at it, because he's definitely on my side, definitely advocating for me, and he's absolutely interested in helping me get whatever diagnostics I can through my insurance, and of course, if it doesn't work out through insurance, I'll see what I can do if they're not. Some of the tests are like $300 and $400, and I can probably handle some of those. So yeah, so I started looking into some stuff that I can do. So that's one. There are some other ones that are more in the functional medicine side of things, like I talked about last week, testing for bacterial and viral and things like that, infections. And so I'm definitely going to make a list of some of those resources. So I'd love to hear it if you guys have any of those, or if any of you have seen any doctors or functional medicine folks who have sent you to some good testing facilities or given you some good resources. Please share them with me if you have them. I'm going to compile a list and see what makes sense to do, and I'll talk about that stuff with my doctor next time and decide, whether those are practical next steps to take. But that's been kind of on my mind. So there's that. So yeah. So otherwise, from a zero carb standpoint, things have been pretty good. I did just eat my beef and ribeye and bacon, and for the most part, I've been feeling great, you guys. I feel good during the day. I have good energy. It's just that eating too much thing, and it's so weird the way it manifests. How, like I said, I know that I ate too much, but I don't feel bad. But I know that I ate too much, and there might be some stomach acid issues coming up. And sure enough, 4 hours later, I'll wake up with those issues. So I am getting a little bit, I guess, some more clarity in terms of, exactly what the mechanisms are there. Not really. I'm getting more assumptions, making more assumptions. But anyways, so there's all that. So from the rest of the, it's all my internal zero carb stuff. The external zero carb world, I am pretty out of the loop these days. I haven't been paying much attention. I really do. So I had some thoughts about like carnivore con and whether I'm going to go or not. And I would like to go. I did come to that realization, but of course it's right when my boats are supposed to deliver. That's when the barge leaves. That's like the dead day for both of my 2 fishing boats to go out, is right in May. I think it's in May. And so I'm reluctant to try and book that trip because I probably won't be able to go. But one of the things I was thinking about with regards to a carnivore gathering is that, I do seem to be having this issue, that it does seem to be stemming from just eating too much, right? And so maybe it's a function of how I eat or what I eat. There was a thought, I did have the idea that it would be interesting to go, interact with other carnivores and eat with them and see what happens. I mean, I have this assumption that I can't eat anything that everyone else eats, that it's going to have spices or little contaminants, things that other people normally can eat that I don't seem to be able to, spices or butter or, whatever. I just seem to be so sensitive. I don't seem to really be able to eat anything, to be honest. So I'm not sure if that's something that would work for me or not. I feel like I'd just go and then they'd have like a glorious ribeye and I'd, roast, and I'd have to have them make me some plain burgers or some patties because the roast had stuff on it. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. So I'm curious. I'm obviously not very optimistic, but I'm curious. I wonder if just going and hanging out with some other carnivores and, eating some different stuff for a few days. Like when I go on the road, right? Like I eat the mostly fast food patties, and I go to restaurants and I get the occasional ribeye. And so if I can think back and evaluate those times on the road, for the most part, I feel pretty good. When I'm on the road, I don't end up having any sick days. I do end up feeling sort of overall worse because of probably the variety of different foods and where different places they're coming from and little things that are bugging me in each different meal that I eat. So I end up spending my days sort of like kind of on edge. I do end up using the restroom quite a few times during the days, usually when I'm on the road. I kind of get my diarrhea and urgency back a little bit. Not really, but I'm definitely not as regular as I am when my routine is regular. So I'm a little curious about all that. I have learned that I can go on the road now. That's great. I want to do some more of that. I don't feel too vulnerable out there in terms of, my diet making me deteriorate or anything. Excuse me, I have a little bit of heartburn this morning from that being sick the other day episode, I think. But I do wonder how I'd fare out there, trying to eat like other carnivores eat. I haven't watched any videos or any Twitter or I haven't kept up with any carnivores. My apologies, friends, for a long time now. But when I did, I would watch what people, like Mike, I'd watch you bring your grocery haul home, and I'd go, well, 99% of that I can't eat. So, it's really interesting to me because I feel like people say, oh, carnivore, it's such a limited diet, but then I look at what other carnivores eat, and then I realize that what I'm doing is, really extreme, I think, compared to most. So, yeah, so trying to suss out whether I could even fit in with the carnivore community or even whether I could even participate, as it were. I don't know, but I'm curious because, like I said, maybe I'm just doing it wrong, right? Maybe I just need to go out and let myself have those things, and I don't know. I definitely kick around the idea of just stuffing some stuff inside my guts and doing a trial by fire and seeing how bad it gets. But I don't think I'm going to do that because every time I get a hint of remembering how bad it was, I remember how bad it was, and I definitely remember how much better I am now. So I think more than anything, I'm just a little frustrated that I'm not, my limited diet and all that, it's fine. I can deal with it. But I sure wish that, yeah, I guess I'm just frustrated that I still have those issues, right? And that I still feel somewhat compromised and like I somewhat can't do all the things I want to do. Yeah. Anyways, that's that. I've been feeling frustrated. Guess that's the theme of this episode 106, frustration. So that's interesting, though. I'm coming up on my 3-year mark, you guys. 3 years of ZC. It'll be in the beginning of February, so I'm about 6 weeks away. And I gotta say, I'm just as happy as I've ever been to have discovered this. I definitely, like I said, I go through these periods of feeling like, oh, maybe I should just eat some bread and see how bad it really is. You used to eat that stuff all the time. Can't be that bad, but then I think back about how I went through life. It wasn't just like on bad days, like a good day for me, what I thought, I didn't realize I was sick, and it's funny now to look back and think about that, but I really did. Just to make it 20 minutes across town, I would stop at 4 restrooms on the way, and I would have pretty explosive diarrhea in every one of them. And I'd be lucky if I didn't, make a mess of my pants almost every day. And so that was what I thought when I thought I was fine. Like, I didn't even realize I was sick, Like, I would go through life knowing that if I was let's say I was traveling, I went to the airport, and I grabbed a Subway sandwich from the airport. I knew that if I ate that Subway sandwich, that within between 5 and 20 minutes, I was going to have a really urgent need to get to the bathroom. Like, it would come on like that without any warning, and I'd have to just void my bowels instantly. And it would just be pure water with some lettuce leaves and things like that. I'm sorry to be so graphic, but I just am trying to remember how sick I really was. Just pure water, green water with lettuce leaves. And then I would kind of like spray that out of my system. I know, gross. And then I would have, 30 minutes later, I'd be able to get off the toilet, and then 30 minutes later, I'd have a smaller episode, and then 30 minutes later, I'd have a smaller one, and then it'd probably be out of my system. And that's how it went with almost every meal. Every meal. So I used to not eat, and I used to think that was normal. I didn't really realize. As I got older, when I was 30s, I would kind of realize, oh, if I eat, I'll have to use the bathroom. I probably just won't eat. But I still never really consciously made that connection. I just didn't eat until evening if I could, or afternoon. All my people I worked with go, oh, yeah, you don't eat lunch. And that was my normal. And that is going back to, I rember those episodes from when I was 16, and Billy McIntyre used to say, why are you spending so long in the bathroom? And I'd come home from school and have football practice. I'd come from school and I'd make these sandwiches. And I'd instantly have to go to the toilet. And I remember, none of my other friends did have to go to the toilet. And they used to ask me why I'd spend so much time in there. And I'd say, I don't know, I'm thinking. I didn't really understand that it was different. So when I look back, I'm like, I know I was sick. I never felt like I was sick because it had been that way always. But I was so much sicker than I am now. And so this is bringing me to some thoughts I've had this week where, now I think of myself as sick, right? And now I think, oh, I can't eat this, oh, I can't go do that, oh, am I going to be able to travel? I'm sick. But back then, when I was actually way sicker, I never thought of myself as sick, and I never had any of those thoughts. I just went and did everything. I'd go snowboarding and get on planes and travel, and I would poop my pants and I would spray diarrhea everywhere. I mean, in the woods, I'd leaving my house here, there are probably dozens of spots that I drive by because I couldn't make it that last 2 minutes home, or I had just left my house and felt like I was fine, and within 3 minutes I was just about to, poop my pants if I didn't just pull over and spray diarrhea in the woods all over. And so I thought that was normal. I mean, can you believe that? That's so funny now to think of that. I mean, I knew it wasn't normal as I got older, but it was my normal. I never thought of myself as sick. I knew other people didn't do that. But so at any rate, what I'm trying to get to is that I ate everything. I had awful illness, obviously, but I didn't recognize it as such. And I just never thought I was sick, and I never acted like I was sick. And as a matter of fact, I would, I've always been competitive. I'd always compete, and I've always been tiny, so I was always like competing with everybody, really, trying to prove that I was just as capable. And I think probably being sick was part of that, although I never identified it as such. So at any rate, part of me wonders if, there's a part of this battle that's mental, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? Like, it's how I perceive myself. So I'm exponentially less sick than I've ever been in my life, but I feel more sick because I think that I'm sick. Now I recognize that there's something wrong with me. So I'm not sure what the lesson is there. I can't just pretend that I'm not sick, but at the same time, I can live my life like I'm not. And I pretty much have. I mean, I definitely have been, for the most part, acting that way. But there's something different mentally, right, than where I was 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. Even when I was much sicker, I just felt, I didn't think I was sick. So I'm not sure where that's really going. It's not really, I can't just pretend I'm not sick and just eat whatever I want. I know that won't work. Part of it is accepting, where I'm at. I think that's really kind of where I'm going with this thought process is, I'm not very sick right now. I just overeat sometimes, and I can keep working on that. I mean, I definitely I'm interested in pursuing the diagnostics a little further and seeing if I can get some answers. But to be honest, if I can't get many more answers without going much farther, I really feel like maybe not being sick anymore. And just going down life's road, that way and seeing where I end up. So, Dean, you said something really wise. Like the only thing that would throw a wrench in that works with regards to my medical care and what kind of system I'm tied in with. How much help I need would be if it does manifest as something that requires surgery. Maybe there are strictures. Maybe we might need a resection or something like that. Yes, definitely. I think you guys get me, but I'm not anti-doctor anymore. I'm not anti, Western modern procedures anymore. Or even medications. I mean, I'm anti in the sense that I don't want to jump into anything that I don't need to, and I don't think that most of the pharmaceuticals that are passed out these days are necessary or even, beneficial to most people. If those people would take steps to help things on their own, most people don't or won't. So I understand that pharmaceuticals are how our culture deals with that. At any rate, I'm just trying to say I'm not against those things if I thought they would help me in my situation, but I haven't felt at this point like I've, gotten anywhere where there are any helpful therapies. So I don't know what was I trying to say? Oh yeah, just trying to say that that being sick is in some ways, um, partly it's partly an attitude, right? And I definitely am looking forward to sort of going back to a life where I don't see myself that way too much anymore. And over these last 3 years, I've made a lot of progress that way. I definitely am getting out in the world and participating more than I have been. Small steps, but it does seem to get better with time. Um, so yeah, so I am interested in pursuing the medical diagnostic stuff and seeing if there's much more I can do diagnostically. I am reluctant to stray too far from my, services that are available to me so that I do have the opportunity for surgeries or things like that if I need them. But I'll be honest, I really don't feel like I'm in those categories. This dietary therapy is keeping me, I think, relatively out of the woods with regards to conditions that might need surgery. Um, I don't know. I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. I'm having a hard time summarizing it. Um, but yeah, that's where I'm at. So, geez, did I really just talk for half an hour or more? I don't know. I might have. I guess I should go, you guys. So it's Christmas week, and it's going to be a really nice week for everyone. I hope to spend with your families and people you care about. So I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, and I'm going to take a few days and spend some time with my family. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to come back and, oh yeah, I didn't let on that my other boat job called me and are hoping I can work the day after Christmas, which is one of the frustrations about not being able to get away. I think my break is over now. So, but at any rate, we're heading to Christmas, and I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. I hope you surround yourself with people that you love and that you really appreciate, you know, health and family and all that. So, so yeah, so I will check with you guys next week. I'll continue to stay positive and try and make some progress and move forward here, and I hope you guys do the same. And when I come back next week, I'm going to try to start focusing a little more externally on what the rest of the community is doing and talk more about some issues that are going around there. It seems like, of course, it's the same old thing: salt, no salt, fat, less fat, more fat. But I'm sure there's something interesting cooking out there, so I'll get a little more involved, hopefully, and be able to share some more of that stuff with you guys. But yeah, at any rate, that's enough for me today. I don't feel like I really wrapped anything up, but I guess I shared with you guys how I feel, and that's a journal. So there you go. So I hope you guys have a great week. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas if that applies. And I'll check in with you guys next week, and we'll get ready to head into the new year. Okay, you guys. Well, have a good week, and thank you so much, as always, for listening and watching, and for all your comments and support. They mean so much to me. So, all right, you guys. Merry Christmas. See you in a week.